Today, we break down the three biggest gainers of 2023. Will they continue to outperform? This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining, folks. Please go ahead and hit that like button. We got two fantastic guests today. We're going to go start. You maybe saw him on the morning stream. It is Rodney. Rodney, how are you doing? You're in the house that Owen built. You're feeling good today?
Absolutely. What's up, DZ? Dude, this room is insane. Immaculate vibes. And I have the Rubik's Cube of crypto right here. Absolutely insane time, man.
Okay, I thought that was a Tezzeret cube from, Thanos or something.
Could be. I don't even know. I haven't touched it. I'm scared to touch it.
I heard no human has touched it and lived. Also on today, we have Drew Wolfer. He's been on before. He's going to be on again. Drew, how are you doing today?
Man, it's all good. I can't complain. Weather's good in Florida. Sun's always shining. Sometimes it rains. Actually, every day it rains. It's really weird. But other than that, everything's great, man. How's everything going for you?
Going well. You said it's all good. Well, I just started watching Saul Goodman, and a pretty good show. We were just talking about that. I don't know if I incepted you there. All right, well, we're going to talk about Friend Tech Hack, and then we're going to go over the three best performing coins of 2023. But first, let's just get into the Friend Hack thing. I want to show this tweet. It's just a good breakdown of what happened, A through Z, if you will. I was just sim swapped and robbed a 22 ETH via Friend Tech. 34 of my own keys that I own were sold, rugging anyone who held it. All the other ones were sold, and the rest of the ETH was drained. If your Twitter account is doxed your real name, your phone number can be found. This could happen to you. Started getting spammed with phone calls, which caused them to put their phone on silent, so they missed the Verizon text. And so when they opened Friend Tech, they thought there was a bug because the chat was empty. He shows a photo here. You can see just getting tons and tons of spam, prompting him to put his phone away. Meanwhile, he misses the important message there. Now, looking at some of the stuff here, 22 ETH from this one individual. But as of so far, the revenue is also off the chain. But Rodney, I just want to talk to you about the protocol itself. I've stayed away personally. I think we have someone, maybe looking into it. What are your thoughts of Friend Tech as a platform?
It's decentralized social media, you could say. And I think what really X has done is it kind of threw a wrench in the plans of anyone trying to create like a new social media. Because the issue was that a lot of people felt like their speech was being kind of throttled, right? There was no free speech on other social medias. But we're getting that now with X. And I think the need for a decentralized social media platform, in my opinion, isn't really needed. That's just my opinion on it. But to be fair, I mean, Friend Tech has faced a lot of scrutiny and they continue to grow. The issue is not with Friend Tech, it's with these cell phone providers and hackers and scammers and clicking on links. Because the truth is, with cryptocurrency, no one is safe. I mean, Vitalik had his Twitter account or X account hacked, a couple weeks ago? So even Vitalik had it hacked. And I'm sure he's doing the best he can to kind of fight against hacks. But the SIM card swap hack can happen at the, you could say, phone provider level. People think, we don't know, that maybe some people that are working at these cell phone companies may be selling your information. So it's tough all around, but getting to the source to me is more important. I can't blame this on Friend Tech.
All right, we got Chris. We have to look into this. In the waiting room, then it opens up in the Hit Network channel. Keep disliking it until you fix it. Chris, I don't even blame you. Is it the YouTube overlords? We don't know what's going on with that. All right, but yeah, we'll look into it. Now, Drew, I want to ask you about this element I keep bringing up with Friend Tech, and that's sell shaming. You sell the keys to your access, right? It links to your X account, your Twitter account, and people get special access to you. Well, oftentimes what's happening, people, sell to their friends, they sell to their community, and then they see when you sell, it's a little bit of an icky feeling. Some are calling it sell shaming. Some are saying, you're kind of incentivized to hold and maybe never really let go. What are your thoughts on that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, that's like textbook gaslighting, though. Like, if you think about it, that's extremely manipulative. So at the end of the day, they call this like a decentralized platform, right? So that means that there's not really anybody that's technically supposed to be in control. And people are supposed to be in control of what they do on this platform and then what also they provide to people on this platform. So shouldn't that same right be extended out to the people that are buying said services or participating in said platform, right? From the creator level all the way down to the people that are, buying the product. So in my opinion, free market always rules. So I wouldn't ever really sell shame anybody. I mean, I know in my companies, I wouldn't want my stockholders or my shareholders to not be able to sell their shares. So, and I practice what I preach. So I would say sell shaming is a very bad look for you to, and a very, very bad way for you to interact with your community. Because if you truly value them, you should want them to be able to do the things as they see fit, because they are human beings, not robots, and we should all act accordingly.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. If you sell Drew's key, you're still allowed in the wolf pack, folks. Drew, quick follow-up. Now, Friend Tech is on Base. This is Coinbase's layer 2. Well, what's your long-term prognosis for Base here?
So I have, so there's like kind of mixed reviews, mixed feelings there, right? Because we all know what's going on with Coinbase, kind of going back and forth with the SEC. That's all up in the air. We don't really know how that's going to go, right? But with that being said, I don't think that Base 100% totally hinges upon whether or not Coinbase stays in the United States and things like that, right? So that's one of the good, I guess, aspects of it for the blockchain. My bias behind it is that, and some people are going to agree with this and some people aren't, but that's, the point of any good debate, right? I think Coinbase's base layer is going to be massive. And you can already see, I see people doing videos on it all the time. I actually thought about doing a video on it on my channel to just cover it, because there's so many different projects that are coming out on Base right now that are kind of like trying to catch that craze. Who's going to be the number one DeFi on Base chain? Who's going to be the number one lender? Who's going to be the number one DAO, right? And all these people are going to be vying for these positions. And I think it's going to get extremely competitive, especially if the fee structures are competitive as well in terms of gas fees and things of that sort. So yeah, I mean, I honestly see Base chain as being an absolutely astronomically successful thing in the future.
Yeah, I'm actually making a pretty bold prediction. I think it's going to be the number 2 after Matic. I don't think it could beat Matic, but I think it can easily hit top 5, possibly top 3, and I'm honestly thinking coming into number 2, maybe over 3 years, 2 years. Let's give it at least 2 years to do that. All right, last question on Friend Tech, and then we're going to go over the 3 best coins for 2023 so far. We don't know what the future holds here now, folks. Rodney, who is the top tier Friend Tech key that you would want to own? And maybe even someone that doesn't have a Friend Tech. I'll start. I kind of want 2. I want Justin Sun, just so I can copy trade him. He sells ETH at the top. He buys cheap Bitcoin. I just want to copy the guy. Maybe even some Tron. I get in and out of some Tron. Last, I want to do Elon Musk. I want that Doge Alpha. Maybe he'll give us a little hint before it goes on X, because X isn't publicly traded, meaning we don't have to deal with SEC quarterly reports and the like. So that's my 2. Rodney, who's the Friend Tech you're going? Besides DZ, of course.
Yeah. First of all, I have to start off by saying, what's the point of investing if you're not going to sell? This sell shaming is insane to me. Like, why do we get into any investment? To eventually make money. And it's so healthy to take profits all the way up to the top. And to go off what you said about Base, I think Base is going to be huge. And the fact that Brian Armstrong has said that, hey, you're pushing innovation out of the United States with all these crazy, harsh regulatory rules, I think that's going to be bullish for Coinbase expanding in other countries where, they can do a little more with DeFi. But if I had to pick one person, Friend Tech, to copy, it has to be Jim Cramer. So I can go ahead and do exactly the opposite of what that man does.
All right, that was a good
you know what I mean? And and if we're thinking of someone like savvy crypto trader, which is kind of tough in this sort of market, maybe Frankie. Where's Frankie Candles at? I'm copying Frankie Candles his Friend Tech.
I'll give you one more. ETH Foundation. Can we just know when they sell? Give me ETH Foundation. I'll take that one all day. They caught the 4,500. All right, let's talk about the top 3 coins of the year, folks. Well, we're breaking it down, and now this is year to date. We're talking about since January 1st, the 3 best crypto out of the top 100. So I know there's some random meme coin. Oh, well, you missed the meme coin with the 50,000% pump. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the larger projects here. Well, number 1, it is Maker. Maker is coming in number 1. It is down considerably right there, 1.4%. I was thinking it was down 20%. But Maker is coming in one of the top gainers for 2023, trading 235. I'll pull up the CoinGecko in a bit, but it is a large DeFi project. It's one of the main DeFi projects. And more importantly, they are behind the DAI stablecoin. So a lot of people like DAI because they are over collateralized. All right, I'm pulling up Maker chart right here. We're going to pull up the 1 year. So this is the 24-hour. And then this is from January right here. We went from $500 to nearly $1,500 for a top 100 coin, tripling in this time. It's pretty bullish here. Now, Rodney, what are your thoughts on DeFi going into the next year? Last time it popped 2020. Let's just go ahead and say it popped about 9 months before retail started, before Tesla, before, Doge started getting popular. So it popped 9 to 12 months before the rest of crypto popped. Are you predicting this something similar this cycle? Will DeFi pop another 6 to 12 months before the rest of the market?
Yeah, I think so. I think that a lot of people underestimate the fact, like meme coins, for example. Like meme coins are a good feel on how the market's going to do, because meme coins kind of bridge the gap between DeFi and the normies. Because if you went onto 100 people randomly on the street and asked them what Ethereum is, they'd be like, "What?" But if you ask somebody what Dogecoin is, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Dogecoin, the funny little dog token." So I think we're going to see those cryptos start to move, and that could be a telltale sign. To touch on DAI, though, I like Maker, and the fact that BNB is out of the way now because Paxos shut it down, I think could make room for other stablecoins, especially ones that are not trying to operate within the United States, like Tether, for example. Like it continues to dominate because there's another player that's out of the market, and I think USDC will kind of United States dollar coin will kind of follow suit. But I think definitely we're going to see some insane pumps from the people in crypto. And then that's when the retail comes in. And that's when we see these insane green candles, all-time highs, when people have discretionary income to spend on risky assets, which are cryptocurrency. But if you look at the macroeconomic situation, the truth is times are hard. Inflation's high. Student loan payments started back up. Credit card debts sky high. So people are going to have to start paying that down until we can see the people that would get into meme coins or download a Coinbase or download a Binance contribute to, you could say, crypto.
All right, and fun fact on DAI, I was just kind of looking up some DAI stats here. They went from 3.9 billion for the low this year. Now they're up to 5.5, so 1.6 billion pumped into the DAI ecosystem there, and they seem to be the highest generating revenue-wise for DeFi.
Wow.
They pulled in 193 million. Now, speaking of DeFi, Drew, I remember my DeFi strategy early 2021. It was moonshots. I was chasing high yield. If I saw 10% yield, 20% yield, I'd say for idiots, maybe I want that 70%, that 60%. I didn't chase comma yield, but maybe thought about it. When it comes to yield bearing and just DeFi in general, what is your strategy? Would you prefer a small DeFi play? It's riskier, but higher upside. Or would you go for one of the larger DeFi plays where, probably a little bit safer, less likely to go to zero, but maybe the multiple will be lower?
Yeah, that's tough in our ecosystem, because this ecosystem has proven itself to just get wrecked, whether you're small or big. We've seen all the lenders just get absolutely murdered. Even Silicon Valley Bank, things that are outside of the ecosystem are getting just wrecked. So my bias would be it's all going to depend on timing. Okay. So if you get in on something extremely early and you have the foresight to think about that and say, okay, I think this is going to do well or it's going to be big, then you probably, even though it has most likely a higher yield to it, it could be in those commas. Trust me, my whole social platform I built off of going after all of these mathematical and economical impossibilities. I've seen 382,000 percenters, million% APYs, and all this wild stuff. But the riskier and the smaller is probably the higher the yield is going to be. And that's because how are they going to bring people in? If there's already 10% yields and it's a stable, we've been rocking out for a year, why would I put my money into something that's new, but it's offering the same yield, right? So they almost incentivize you to come in to those smaller and more what we would call degen plays. And, they wear that as a badge of honor, the degenerate DeFi people. And I would say the strategy would be based on timing. Are you getting in early? Because if you're coming in on a back end of something, I would not advise going with one of those higher ones. And if you're coming in later, then I would say go with one of the ones that's more tried and true. But obviously, don't put any more money in than, and this goes without saying, than you're willing to lose, because we've seen Three Arrows Capital, we've seen UST, Luna, all of that happened last year. So nothing is safe at this point.
great point on the timing. And honestly, even with that 100% yield, there are some people who got in early enough, got out early enough, and they had incredible gains. But typically it's like the devs and the devs' friends and, their cousin that was in the Telegram. Catch them all. Great question before we go to the next coin here. Is providing liquidity worth it when you get in permanent loss? Well, so spelling is not my strong suit. You got to be careful with the large fluctuations. That's why I feel safe, maybe doing something a little bit larger when it comes to yield. That way, if you have a 40% correction in price, you're not just ended up losing your underlying asset, whether it's Cardano, whether it's Ethereum, whether you have, in that trading pair there. All right. Well, let's go on to coin number two. Coin number two. Owen, can you give me a coin number two? No? Okay. I was just wanting you to say coin number two. It's old David Letterman reference from the 90s. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin Cash, folks. Not Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin's not one of the top gainers. BCH was the number two coin for the year, although it was down 8% for the middle of that day. I don't mean to laugh at that. That's not great. But if we go to the chart here, this is the 1 year chart. You can see it's just largely flat from the last 3 months of the year. And then in January, $100, folks. Now coming in $232. And look at that spike right there. I mean, do you imagine buying in right there, selling right there? You're going from $100 to over $300 there. So up 143% year to date, surged about 15% last month. I looked up some of the stats here. 2 cycles ago, I'll pull it up for you. This is a daily chart, so it doesn't quite hit it right, but 2 cycles ago, it was over 3,500, flirting with 4,000. 1 cycle ago, it went to 1,500. So we went from 3,500 to 1,500. Drew, let me ask you, just maybe not exact prediction, but is this trend going to continue? It's reminding me of some other coins, some called the banker's coin. I'm not feeling positive that we're going to even match 2021's high. What are your thoughts? Are you agreeing?
I want to do a disclaimer really quick because that first pump that you showed, dude, I made a bunch of money on that, like a bunch of money. I remember I was like wet behind the ears. This was like, I think it was like 2017 or something crazy.
Yeah, there was
right?
whispers, which even is the real Bitcoin gonna pan out to be, because there were, seemingly smart people posting on Reddit, posting on Twitter at the time. No, guys, you're so wrong. The $16,000 Bitcoin isn't the good one. It's the $4,000 Bitcoin. And you're like, yeah. I mean, they know more than me, right? I remember that time. It was odd.
Dude, I literally like tripled my money overnight with zero leverage. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. I set up these orders, they hit, and I wasn't paying attention to my phone. I sold it all at the top and I just put the orders back in. And then I went to sleep and it hit all my orders again. And then I sold it whenever I woke up in the morning. And I remember I was in college and I told my mom, I was like, I just made a bunch of money just randomly to go to sleep. It was pretty cool. Crypto's awesome, right? So then I was hooked, obviously. I think Bitcoin Cash got me hooked on the market for some reason. But yeah, back to the original question. I mean, you can kind of see it. It's setting lower highs, lower lows. It'll probably keep going down. But the thing is they are building a lot on top of that ecosystem. So with that, you've got people having to buy the coin, right, to utilize their blockchain, right, to deploy smart contracts on it. Then you have to have people that are using the blockchain and paying gas fees in that native currency. So could it stabilize a little bit more? Absolutely. Is it going to go back up to $3,500? Probably not. But in a bull run, could we see that previous, kind of like interim high almost of $1,500, $1,000? Yeah, probably. But I wouldn't bet a bunch of money on it. But and you need to see the quality. That's the difference. The quality of the products that are coming out on their chain. Because if nobody uses them, then you could have 1,000 products and nobody's buying your coin because they don't want to use those products.
All right, and congrats on the gains. Late 2017, maybe even early 2018. It was quite the time. Like Candle Daddy said, 2017 was crazy. I remember being in my accounting class and everybody just talking about Bitcoin. It was like, well, who owns any? And like, I think one person said they had some, but they lost it. And I don't even think you have any. All right, one more thing on Bitcoin Cash. Then we reveal coin number 3. Rodney, this tweet came out. Let me just go ahead and read it. It's from the blue checkmark Satoshi.
Oh, yeah.
Bitcoin is a predicate machine. Over the following months, we shall explore different aspects. Blah, blah, blah. They're all parts of Bitcoin. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the fun part. Readers added context they thought people should know. Craig Wright claims to be Satoshi, but he's been proven to be a fraud. He controls this account and it should not be trusted. And then they cite their sources. So shots fired. Shots fired.
Oh, yeah.
Craig Wright right here. What are your thoughts on the Craig Wright, I am Satoshi controversy?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But going off of Bitcoin Cash, I am in the camp that just because something hit an all-time high before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. And you have to understand, around the same time Bitcoin Cash was kind of thought of, it was like a difference in between Bitcoin developers. So it was kind of like a novelty thing. Like, oh, Bitcoin was successful, Bitcoin Cash would be successful. And the top in 2017 compared to the top during the last bull run is like night and day. And I can't imagine, just because it's up year to date now, that it's going to do the same thing going into the next bull run. It could happen, but like Drew was saying, it's like you can have all these projects, or you can have all these networks, but if no one's building on the networks, and even worse, if no one's using the products you're building on those networks, the dApps, then who cares? But I do want to say, first of all, X is such a breath of fresh air when it comes to social media. I think it is. I think that Elon's doing a great job, even though people think it's kind of like an SHIT storm sometimes. But I think that's the internet. The internet's just like that. And as long as it's not too extreme, it's okay to post videos that are maybe not safe for like Facebook or YouTube. And I like the way they're handling these fact checks. They're not all, suit and tie about it. They're very like, no, this guy's a scammer. He's a proven scammer. Here's some articles. So when I saw that, I'm like, this account has 30K followers, which I assume if it was Satoshi Nakamoto, he would have way more. And I like that they were so quick with it. And it helps that Elon Musk is a crypto guy, right? The guy controlling, one of the largest social media platforms, Tesla, SpaceX, is a crypto guy. So I like the fact they took time to fact check that and trying to say, that's not really him. That's a poser. So I like the way they're handling it. I think they should keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, Community Notes. There's an account, Community Notes Violating People. It's a really good follow. I recommend everyone follow that one. All right, well, coin number 3. Let me pull up the article. Let's do the slow reveal, everybody. All right, here we have Bitcoin Cash. We're going to slowly reveal. Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you sitting down? Number 3 coin is Solana, everybody. Solana. But guys, I'm going to say this is like a Mark McGuire situation. There's a little asterisk. There's a Barry Bond home run record situation here. Let's look at the chart. If it would have been December or November 6th, basically the collapse happened right around then. And you see that dippy dip, the dip, that's actually January 1st, folks. So they got in on the dippy dip. And then, so we're comparing it from right here to today, from a low of $10 coming in at $24. So we're seeing a pretty good pump for Solana. Still a top 10 crypto, but considerably lower. Here, let's go to the all-time chart. Considerably lower than $250. It got as high as $269, I think. Some fun Solana price history facts, guys. I did a little deep research for you. That's why you watch Around the Blockchain. Hit that like button if you want to know the secrets. Here's the secrets about Solana. Solana founder sold 15% of the initial supply to private investors. Go ahead, chat. I'll give you a second or two. Guess the price the first round of Solana sold for. Again, they sold 15%. This is FTX backed. I don't want to say FTX affiliated insiders. FTX, they probably know each other. That's all I'm going to say. We're not making any allegations about Alameda or anything like that. But the first price of Solana, there's rumors of $3. Sam tweeted about $3. No, it was a little bit cheaper than $3. Some people say, well, maybe a round number like $1. Maybe they got them all for $1. No, it was a little bit cheaper than that. 4 cents a Solana. And then they're able to sell for $250, from 4 pennies to $250, folks. During the week they declared bankruptcy, they had 55 million Solana. I looked at today's price. It is in today's price $1.3 billion. But I'm saying all this bad news. Literally yesterday they hit a record for total value locked 2023. So it is moving on up. C90 says, can it go to $400? I think that's just a good question. I'm stealing C90's question. Drew, maybe not 400. Let's not do exact price. Are we going to have a higher high for Solana next bull run?
Man, that really depends on what they do with their ecosystem. I've noticed that the blockchains that do well and the chain coins that pump really hard, they niche down. Okay. So like, we all know Ethereum's the big dog, the big daddy of smart contracts. We get it, okay? Then you've got the polygons, right, that come on top. They were like the first mover that kind of really captured that market share, right? Then you've got like the Avalanches that are doing all of the different gaming and stuff like that. They niched down. That's why Avalanche did well. Okay. Same thing with FTM, Phantom Opera Network. They niched down into like all of these tomb forks and kind of like, it was almost like DeFi ish, right? And then you've got like Binance Smart Chain also coming in doing a lot of DeFi stuff. Then you have Solana that is really focusing on like NFTs and DeFi. Now, I think they're trying to take over inside of DeFi at least a pretty sizable market that is already pretty saturated, right? And they got to find the perfect niche to niche down in, which NFTs and DeFi, yeah, absolutely. I get it. But you've also got to keep that chain up and running. Solana has gone down multiple times. So do we see it hit, more than an all-time high? Because I think the last all-time high was like, 260 or something like that? It's tough. It's tough. It really, it depends on if they can keep the chain up and running. And then also if they can niche down and get a lot of projects to come in and actually do things on their platform. But if all of these we've got BlackRock, Fidelity, we've got VanEck, we've got Grayscale. These are like the spot Bitcoin ETFs, the spot Ethereum ETFs. When all of those types of entities are bringing billions and trillions of dollars into the market and they start pumping, right, basically everybody's bags, then the altcoins can and most likely will follow. So Solana does have a chance to get there once that market starts pumping. But what they truly do to keep that price there is going to be determinant upon what they've actually done with the ecosystem, because we build in bear markets.
All right, you got $100. Which way you betting? Yay or nay?
Like, am I betting that it goes above an all-time high?
Yeah, next 2 years or so.
In the bull run, next 2 years, new all-time high probably.
New all-time high. All right, it's close to a coin toss though. Okay.
Yeah, it's very close because I mean it's like an 8x from here. So I mean it's not really too hard to assume that it would 10x.
And a lot of people, bringing up Solana's price. Just a quick disclaimer here, not disclaimer, but if we pull up the 1 year chart, a lot of the reason Solana gets this bullish price action is essentially a lot of coins after this collapse of FTX, they maybe fell that much, and then they essentially recovered from there. So if you could just connect that line to right there, it would be a little bit higher. Not many coins are lower than they were a year ago. So when it got beaten down in this moment, many say it got beaten down a little too hard. I don't really have an opinion on that though myself. Rodney, I want to ask you about the brand though. We talked about the phone this morning, just the Solana brand in general, a little hard. They actually have like physical locations there. Can the Solana brand recover?
Yeah, see, this is what we saw with Elon Musk going on Joe Rogan's show and smoking. And what happened to Tesla stocks? They crashed. I mean, they dumped because the market's run on emotion. So when you see all this negative association with Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda Research, and at the time, and even still today, I mean, obviously that's the biggest catastrophe in cryptocurrency history. Any sort of ties with Sam Bankman-Fried is like a death sentence for a cryptocurrency project. And people trade on emotions. They saw that and they said, yep, I'm out of here. I don't care if they were early investors. I mean, I'm out of here. So to me, Solana would be one of the biggest comeback stories when it comes to reputation. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can recover. Now, there are issues with the network. I know they have outages quite frequently. They were one of the quote unquote ETH killers, but to be better than the best right now, I mean, Ethereum, although it's clunky, it's slow. I like meme coins. I trade meme coins. I mint NFTs. It is expensive, but you got to be like 10 times better than the current trusted brand. And I don't know if Solana is that just yet. But to be fair, even with ETH going to ETH 2.0, right, it's still going to be slower, clunkier, and more expensive than a lot of other solutions. The door is wide open. So it's time to start looking at some of those, ETH killers that could make a comeback. But I think they have to get away from Sam Bankman-Fried and Alameda Research and that negative association, I think. But
I heard they said, don't call it a comeback. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't know you're done.
Oh, no worry. But for it to hit an all-time high again, it's going to be interesting. Because I just mentioned, just because something hit an all-time high before or was a top 20, top 10 cryptocurrency last bull run, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again. We see that with all types of cryptos. So I think that the possibility is there, but I think they need to make their network better. No more outages, right? I mean, I like the Solana phone, but did we need a Windows phone? So do we need a Solana's phone? So make sure no outages, no more negative association. And hopefully we don't see a lot of insider selling and stuff like that, because that's just more negative publicity.
All right, Rodney, are you having a dance party like in the office?
Yes,
where
I
they
am,
go to
baby.
floor
You got
below?
the
I knew it.
this is a hit network, so it's
All
a
right,
party
man.
here.
I could tell he's having
Yeah.
a good time in there. All right, well,
Yes.
we're going to wrap it up with this, with the round the blockchain. I'll answer first.
GG.
We're going to break it down. We got $100 to put in one of these 3 coins, and it's just going to auto sell in 18 months. Let's share this screen right quick. Number 1, we got Maker, then we got Bitcoin Cash, then we got Solana. Which one am I going to put $100 in to sell in 18 months? I'm honestly going to have to go with Solana because it is pumped the least of the 3. And Maker, it's an expensive price per coin, and I just don't know if retail is going to get behind that. Bitcoin Cash, it's just hard for me to support that project. Solana, I'm just going to have to separate FTX from his soul. No, not like that. I meant from Solana. So I am going with Solana. Rodney, which of those 3 you going with?
I like Solana. I like Solana because they have a strong community who are going to come back and support Solana, even with the negative publicity. I definitely do see a future where Solana does well. All-time highs, I don't know. But if they keep, figuring out their angle, like Drew said, niche down, get a different angle than like Ethereum or the other players in the space, I definitely think they have a future. So I'm going with Solana.
All right, Catch Them All always got some of the best comments. Elon didn't inhale. That doesn't count. Okay, all right. Let's make that just part of the lore. That is part of the lore now. Drew, let's share the screen one more time. Maker Protocol, Bitcoin Cash, Solana. Which one of the 3 are you going to put $100 in? You can't touch it for 18 months. Got muted. You had a Solana. We just pulled a Solana.
We have a consensus. My
we
mic
got into
went down.
Discord.
I did pull a
we went into
Solana.
Discord though. We just messaged each other.
So my CMO, Craig, he's going to love this. My CMO over at Presend, he's going to love this because he is a big Solana maxi. So I'm going to have to shout out Craig on this. And we're going with Solana because and for a lot of the reasons that you already stated. I do believe that once they separate themselves, because even though there is bad news about them right now, and what you brought up earlier with them selling Solana for like 4 cents to insiders, and then the whole FTX stuff. Once they move past that, people forget, right? People forget things, especially in the crypto markets where it moves like something that's on Adderall, steroids, and HGH all at the same time, right? This market just flies. So I think once they get past that, everybody's going to probably forget about that stuff and start, putting some money back in.
Guys, if you want some gains, you want some pumps, I mean, we all know there's a shortcut to get there. All right, well, guys, this has been a fantastic episode. Drew, you did phenomenal as well. Feel free. We're going to give you, the floor is yours. So share what you got going on in your life. Share what kind of protocols, products you're building. Drew, go ahead.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so I've actually created 2 companies inside of the blockchain space. One's a master and validator noding company that provides blockchain infrastructure. That's Wolfer Finance. I repped it today. I usually rep Presend shirts. And then obviously I'm the CEO also of Presend, which is a wallet transaction security software that stops people from losing money on cross-chain transactions. And that's pretty much what I do. And, I do want to give a public service announcement to everybody that we are at this like 28K level on Bitcoin, right? And we've been banging up against it a lot, and it's going to be hard to get through it. But then there's going to be the 30K level. Keep your eye on the fact that they have pushed out these Bitcoin ETFs, and I know a lot of people don't really care about that, because they're like, the United States isn't the center of the world. We get that, but the difference is that these are trillion and multi-billion-dollar companies that are going to have to pump money into the markets. So they're not going to want to buy Bitcoin. They're not going to tell you when they're buying Bitcoin. They're not going to want to buy it at 50K. They're going to try to suppress the price down here, accumulate as much as they can within the 25 to 30 range. And then by the time that that they've bought it all, they've already bought it, right? So market makers they are the liquidity. They provide the liquidity, and then they use retail as exit liquidity. So just pay attention to those things in your pursuits inside of this market. Be safe and be careful. And obviously go check out my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Drew Wolfer. And we call out scams and rugs, and we have fun, and we keep it real on the channel, and we talk about all types of other stuff too.
God dang it. That's some actually really, really sound advice. I appreciate that, Drew. Let's just avoid leading lambs to the slaughter, because that's what they're trying to do to you. So let's be that smart cow that sees something's going on, and let's kick that fence down, folks. All right, folks, the links are going to be in the description. Big shout out to Linqto. If you want to invest like these big wigs, maybe you can't get the 4-cent Solana, but I heard something about a Ripple IPO, so highly, highly recommend you check out Linqto. And of course, if you're watching this recorded, we have a new schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Videos coming out at 4 p.m. We're live Monday through Wednesday. So check us out. Thanks for following around. Daddy, Maul, C90, Vincent, Jim, French, RA, Meta, Catch, Candle, all y'all just. Y'all appreciate it. Have a good one. Hit that like button on your way out. See you tomorrow.